So in this video, what we want to do is show how to install the ASI N4 driver. And you see ASI Tritium .100.9.8 is our current revision of the N4 ASI protocol driver. I've downloaded that from the partner portal, so or ASI University. You can right click on it. I'm going to go ahead and extract it. And you'll see there's going to be a couple files in here, the RT and WB files. Those are the jar files or the modules. There's a README file that gives you the different version and the changes that took place. So if you want to check that out, you're welcome to. Basically, all I want to do is just select them and copy them. And then I'm going to go to my Niagara install, which is under C drive, Niagara. And then let's say I'm using 4.7, so go to 4.7 in modules. Right click, paste, and it's going to ask me if I want to replace them. I'm going to say yes because I don't know that I have the right latest and greatest files, so I'm going to replace them. And now you can see I've got both the ASIC RT and ASIC WB files there, which is good. And then I'm going to launch my workbench. Let's see if we can get a JASIC connection here. So launch my workbench, and easiest thing to do to make sure that you get dependencies for everything is to build a station offlines first. Even if you don't add any of your devices or your histories and all that in your points, that's fine, but I would at least build it a platform to start with, or use a template. You can pull templates from different things. So I've got template module here. You can see different things, and you can download the ASI template module too, which is just a jar file, no big deal. Let's see, I don't think I have a station in here yet, but I'll put one on it. Logo, schedules, there's different things, devices, but we're not worried about that. We'll just build a new one. So we'll go up here and go to Tools, New Station, and you can name it whatever, say ASIC template station. How about that? And it's a new controller station, so we'll leave that, and we're going to save it in our user home. Oh, sorry, I got to set. You have to set an admin password too. So we'll say capital ASIC at 12345, capital ASIC at 12345, and then finish. And so here's our station. You notice just blank. It's got a Niagara, nothing much to it. We can pull our palette up here, and I'm going to go ahead and close that since we'll close all those, and I'm going to reopen this ASIC since we just changed it. And you see ASI network in here, so I'm just going to drag out an ASI network on the drivers. Click OK. And that's it for now. We should be good with that. So I'm going to save my bog, and then I'm going to minimize all this, and the JASIC that we just did a clean distribution on, we will do a commissioning. Let's say yes, we'll accept that. So this would be our default admin password for the JASIC, since we just did a clean distribution. And we get to change platform defaults wizard, because when we did the clean distribution, it put in the original defaults. So we're going to hit next. New passphrase is going to be the same as what we just did. I'm going to call it capital ASIC at 12345, capital ASIC at 12345. Next. And new username, we'll call it admin. Password, same ASIC, capital ASIC at 12345, capital ASIC at 12345. Comment, no comment, or we could just say ASI default. That'll be our hint. And we're going to finish. It's removing the Tritium default account and installing our admin account we just made. is good. So that Tritium Niagara is the default, just FYI if you didn't know that. So what we want to do now is go ahead and commission our JASIC. So if we go to Platform Administration, commissioning, and my JASIC is being slow today. And so we want to install, yes, we want to install a station. We don't need lexicons for additional languages. I do want to sync to time. We'll go ahead and configure TCP/IP settings. You can do that if you want, and configure system passphrase. We don't need to do that because we've already done it in the station and the JASIC. And I'm not going to change my IP settings. You can if you want. It's no big deal. You literally just type in your IP on one screen, your settings, and move on. Click next. So don't change any licenses because I've already got one. If you need to install a license, you can install one from your machine locally, or you can just tell it to pull it off the server. I've already got them installed on mine, so we're good. And then I'm going to click next. And I don't need any runtime here. You can put them on if you want to, up to you, but most of the time it's not necessary. And the station to transfer, we want to say our ASIC template station is the one we created. So I do want it to auto start, and I do want it to go ahead and install. So next. And the reason we do it this way is because now that we have, you'll see here the dependencies are, this is your core software, but you notice now that we have ASIC RT in here now. That's because the station that we're transferring to it has a dependency on that module. So it automatically, Tritium Smart, so it automatically selected that module for you. If you don't do that and you just create a new station and put it on the JASIC, then you'll have to go back and add the modules that you need for your station. Otherwise you won't be able to load the ASI network. So doing it like this and transferring the station or running a commissioning wizard is a lot easier way to do it. So we can click next. If there's any others you want to select, you can. Here's your core software that's going to get installed. I'm on version 4.7.1.10, so that's what we're going to put on it. And it doesn't matter if you were on 4.8, it would say 4.8 here, or 4.6 or whatever. It's fine. Don't be worried if that's different on yours. And we can add or remove users. We don't need to do that. You can certainly do that if you want to. If you have one that you use for your, text or your company, feel free to add it, whatever you want to do, and then have an admin as a backdoor too. Is a good idea. And then this is an overview that just shows you what we're getting ready to do. And you click finish, and it'll run through and commission the JASIC for you. What we want to see is all the way down the line, success right here. So stopped all running applications, success, install files, it's running now. We want to see success all the way down the line to reboot, and then the JASIC will reboot. And we got success all the way through, and our JASIC is rebooting now. So we can go ahead and close that. We'll let it reboot, and then we'll reconnect to the platform and look at the application director and make sure our station is online and running. And then we'll do a station connection and go to the next step. Alright, let's see if our JASIC is rebooted now. And we'll go to our application director, and our station is running. That's good. And this came up on a different window, but here is the certificate. That's fine. We're going to accept it. That's because it's a clean slate. First time we're connected to it, so we have to accept the certificate. And we should get, username and password. And it should be our ASIC at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, we got a connection. So, go to our config drivers. Now you got your Niagara network and your ASI network. Okay, so we've got our ASI network on here. We want to go and set up our So if I go to right click on it and go to AX property sheet, and we'll just start from the top here, TCP config. Notice address comes in 0, so we're going to set our address. So our TCP local's fine because that just means the local device address. Port we want to do 2001, and receive timeout. We're going to start out with 1,000 on everything, and that time may need to be adjusted. The recount we're going to leave at 3. That may be adjusted too, especially if you're using ASIC 2s. The pass through from ASIC 1 to ASIC 2 to get here can be slow, so we don't want to time out and get a bunch of errors in our application director. There probably are going to be some errors depending on how large the network is anyway, but we'll limit those to trying to adjust these, and 1,000 is probably a good place to start. I have ran them up as high as 10,000 before, and the retry count upwards of 5 or 6. So for now, we're going to start with that and see how it goes. UDP connection, local's fine. Address will say 3001. And these are the same ports that we use in Expert. So we're good there. Our serial connection, port name will be COM1. This will be whatever your serial port is of the JASIC you're using. And then you need to match the baud rate on the serial to match whatever you're communicating. My setup is on 19.2 currently. And same thing here, receive timeout. We're going to leave that for now. Retry count, we're going to make that be 3. So, and we also want to make our stop bits be stop bits 2. And source address, this is the address, the ASI network address of your JASIC. So you should be good there. And we are licensed to C, so save. And that should get us going for initial configurations. One thing you do want to be aware of is tuning policies. You can set up however many tuning policies you want. I highly recommend using them. It is a good thing to have. So your default tuning policy, I usually just leave it blank. If you want to change it, min write time, max write times, you can. Right on start. I usually leave that as a default for standard points, and then I'll just right click on it and duplicate, and we'll call this our write policy. And then inside our write policy, we can change it and say maybe we want a max write time of whatever, 5 minutes. That's probably high, but let's change that. We'll say we want a max write time of 2 minutes. But we want actually, you know what I am, we're going to run it. We'll say 10, and then we're going to run that min write time of 5. And what that's going to do is we're going to set our write points like set points. You don't need our set point to be writing all the time over and over and over and over again. So we extend the min and max write times, and that should get us in a good place. We do want them to write on startup and up, and then write on enabled. Stale time, I would change that outwards of like 15 or 20 minutes probably, but whatever it is needs to be longer than these. So we'll push that out to 15 minutes, and then we'll save those. And what we can do is any point that we don't need to be updating constantly, like space temperature, obviously you want to leave it a default policy, but space temperature set point or heating set point, we wanted to have a write policy assigned to it. We'll get into that in a different video, but this is just the initial setup. And you can put different ones. You might have a tuning policy for writable points. You might have a tuning policy for set points. You might have one for schedules, that kind of stuff. So you can make different ones to be different times. And I do recommend going and reading these min and max write times definitions in the help menu. Go here, help contents, because it's probably not what you think. You need to read them and make sure that you understand what it's doing there. But there's our network. So if we go to our device manager, now we can add a device, and you got an ASIC VAV device, you got an RTU device, and a programmable device. So I'm going to start with a VAV device. I just want to add one for the moment. And this one's going to be on a serial connection. I don't have to worry about the IP address on a serial connection, but I do need the device address. My device is at 1601, and it is a 6000 or 6100 controller. And let's give it a name. We'll call it VAV1. Click OK. And now we have a device in here. and you see it's in our tree on the left hand side. Go to points. Now the device manager, you see, does not do discovery. Just like in Expert, you can't discover on a network, but it does do point discovery. So we have a device added here. We can now discover points, and you see success, and we can add points here, however you want. Skip points, use the control button, add points, you can use the shift button, so on and so forth. I'll just go ahead and drag those in, and you'll see numeric point, string point, enumeratable. Most of the points, if they're writable, come in writable. If they're just readable, then they'll come in readable. You notice they'll pretty much have facets and stuff already set. We try to make it as easy as possible and have everything labeled for you. So go ahead and click OK, and it'll take a minute to populate my points in, but you'll see our points here now are coming in. Here's my cooling temperature set point, heating occupied temperature set point, 270. Here's my device address. That matches up. That's good. So personality, VAV cooling only. So that's a cool thing to verify. And then from there, you can build out your, come over here and add your extensions or whatever else you want to put on it and get it going, and your graphics, and then you can start duplicating devices from there. But let's say I want to add a couple more devices, so I'm going to add a programmable device. I'm going to add one of those, and we're going to call it AG1. And this is actually a 8540. And it is on the serial connection as well. And the address of it, I think, is 8540. I think it's just 8540. It might be 8541. But you see from there, if I got my device address correct, let's see what we got. Should be able to discover points, and there you go. Here's output 0, 1, 2, 3, and there is no program in this controller right now, so that's what you get. That's it. You can add points as you want. You notice there's different things in here: override sense, no override status, if you want to look at different things. But schedules, inputs, so on and so forth. So you can say we want to add our outputs, and then we want to add some of our inputs. And you can set up your facets and all that here, make them writable, readable, whatever. And there you have it. So if you wanted to do a device on a TCP network, I don't have one currently, but it's pretty much the same thing. You would say, all right, whether it be a VAV, if it's a VAV device and it's coming through on an ASIC 39540, then you would just put in the IP address of the 9540. And then the device address is the device address of the VAV itself. Same thing, TCP or UDP, either one. Whatever you're communicating with, if it's an Etherlink, you would put the Etherlink address here. If it's a 9540, you put the 9540 address here, so on and so forth. And then, device address of the actual device you're talking to. So, pretty simple there. And that's that. That's how you set up an ASI network.